Right, so Noel, welcome back to Fearless and Devotion after what can only be described as a horrendous experience yesterday at Stockport County. First things first, our wonderful podcast. Before we go into the depressing side of this, let's start with some good news. So, obviously, thanks to the Fat Ball for sponsoring us as always. The main man, Rich Watkin, him and his good lady Jade. Congratulations to them on their newborn baby Otis, who weighed in at £7 11 ounces. I believe.
Otis,
Yeah,
named
Otis.
after the singer or the aardvark.
I'm gonna hope it's the aardvark. To be honest,
For
I'm gonna.
American listeners, look up Otis the Aardvark, who was a children's staple. I always thought those puppet guys, they must be the hardest working people in the business because people like Otis are on 7 days a week. They were on it
Yeah,
in every single day, weren't they?
relentless. But let's not try and take away from the fact that there's a newborn baby in the world. Let's not compare it to a sort of puppet aardvark too much too soon. But yeah, well done to them. Great news. Right, I suppose inevitably we need to get on to the fallout of yesterday. Now, I've this has been bothering me all day, and I'm like, I don't know how to. I'm trying to take a pragmatic approach to proceedings because I kind of don't see much value in digging players out individually. Um, that may be easier said than done. I don't know, but anyway, I was there. You watched it on the
Yeah.
box. Um, how was your experience for it first? Because I imagine you were screaming, throwing cups at the TV. I mean,
Yeah.
everything that went wrong yesterday, that could have gone wrong as they did. And the only positive
Yeah.
I can take from it is that it was a 6 or 7.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get a ticket for the game, but I came up to Manchester anyway, so I was sitting on the train going right past Stockport, and three Wrexham fans came on around about 10ish, and I was so jealous of them. They were going to the pub for a good couple hours. They all had tickets to the game, and I just had to carry on to Piccadilly, where I watched it on my laptop. I thought we started well. I'll be honest. I thought we kept the ball
Yeah.
without really threatening them. But then Stockport was so clinical, and I think maybe we were growing in confidence too much, and our wing backs were getting too far forward. Um, to do that, you have to sort of spread your centre halves to cover the areas. And I know I sort of said last week that it's great to have Hayden back because he's quick enough to cover the areas. But it does leave us exposed, and it does leave Tozer exposed as a centre person who has to really coordinate that, especially when you've got Barnett flying up and you've got McLean flying up, and it became pretty evident pretty early on that that's what Stockport were going to target, and target it they did. They targeted relentlessly, and they got a pretty well, not much. It was a thumping, mate. It was an absolute thumping. I know from reading your tweets last night, you were pretty furious last night. I'd say. How are you
I
sort of
think,
feeling in the cold light of day?
yeah, I mean, you kind of have to take it for what it is. Like I said, when it got to 5, I immediately started thinking, when was the last time we lost 5-0? Because it's been a while. So I was trying to take the pluses from that. And obviously, it dates back to February 2014. We lost 5-0 away at Luton. Um,
I
so
can't recall if I
Tonkin,
was at that game.
yeah, Tonkins are rare. Um, so you kind of have to look at the reasons behind it and the reaction to it. And just that period, I mean, 3 goals, I think, in 11 minutes. But it was just the
Mm.
nature of the goals. We're going to go through a minute in more detail in a little while, I guess. But let's kind of like lay the foundation for what we saw. I mean, the first goal, Elliot Lee's one of the brightest sparks on the pitch. We know that because he's been in tremendous form all season. In a weird way, I kind of think he probably has the chance to block that cross coming in. But because there's
Yeah.
nobody behind him and because there's a big space, I think in his head he's like, if I go to ground, he can just cut inside, have the shot, or lay it off. So I think he's kind of catch 22 situation. But he gets done for pace. But No communication. None of his defenders are shouting, it's just you
Yeah.
that's with him. There's just nothing. And it's a great cross, it's a great finish. You can take that because they did to us what we did to them last time we played them, which is a long ball of the top and willing finishes.
I mean,
It's
yeah. Before you go on, let's just say that we hammered Stockport 3-0 last time we played them in the league, and Stockport still went on to get promoted that season. And you know, it, it it didn't make them a bad team. It just meant it was a blip. But anyway, sorry, I cut across you then a little bit. But I think
yeah,
we
no,
just have
of
to put it into context that these teams of this level can hand each other out hidings every now and again.
course they can. And like, it's kind of important. A lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, we were kind of architects of our own downfall, and we made them look really good." I think that's kind of slightly insulting to Stockport as well. I thought they looked good. They looked sharp. Their press was good. They wanted it more. That's the thing that pissed me off and
Right.
continued to piss me off long into the night. It was like 1-0, you're thinking, okay. And then the
You wanted that
second,
fight back. Where was the
yeah, I
fight
mean,
back?
the second and third goals, obviously, we'll go over in more detail in a bit. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why Tozer takes this weird mini step to his right,
Did he
almost
not
like
know the fellas coming in on him? Could he not see him?
what to me, it's like he'd lost the dimensions of the pitch. It's like I think
Hmm.
he thought Howard was a lot closer to him than what he realised, and it's just a comedy of errors. Um, apart from nobody was laughing, it was just he knows he's cocked up, and I think what gets on a lot of people's nerves is the lack of accountability. A lot of people saying he blames everybody but himself. In mitigation, whether there is mitigation or not, and Tozer probably won't accept it as mitigation because, to be fair to him, out of everybody in that team, he's played the most football. I think he's just constant, constant, constant. He plays so much football. He's had a family bereavement, right? His dad passed away. Don't
Hmm.
think that's just been like, I think maybe, we don't know. Maybe his solace was like, concentrate on football, and that's the way
Some people are like that, mate. Some
yeah,
people
and that's
throw themselves into
and
it.
we don't know one way or the other. But I just think the amount of football he's played, plus all that stuff going on outside of football, is it time for him? If we can afford to give him a break, do we give him a break? I would say give him a week out, allow him time to reset. He's not a bad player, but people have quite rightly made pointed to the fact that if you put our defense up against pacey attackers
Yeah,
at
we
this
get opened
level,
up. Yeah.
yeah, we get found out massively. But yeah, anyway, yeah, we'll come back to that. The third goal was just annoyed me because he just walked through Louis Barry on loan from Villa,
Yeah, there's
just
so many
walked
missed
through,
tackles there. So
just
many missed
just,
tackles.
just made him look like Lionel Messi. And then half time, you're thinking, all right, I said there's not going to be any comebacks of like Dover, Barnet, Swindon this season proportions. It's just not going to happen against a
Were you
team with
surprised no
talent.
subs?
Yeah, of course, but there was like a running joke in the away, and they were like, "Well, it's not 70th minute yet. Parky doesn't do subs for the 70th minute." I kind of had
Mm.
this idea that he's got like a smartwatch on, and he gets a reminder, "Your subs are now ready." With 20 minutes left. And I just don't, I don't get it. I just don't. I can see in his head he's loyal to his players, and he wants to give them a chance to redeem themselves. If they don't redeem themselves in the first 10 minutes, change it and they go out and concede a four straight away, and it's another rubbish goal to give away. I mean, it's just dreadful. It's all over the place. It's basic, awful, woeful, amateurish defending. There's no two ways about it. And then the
Well,
fifth
don't
just
make it
caps off.
worse there, Tim.
Well, it is, and that's what made me angry is that, and you have to give them an element of leeway because of how much pleasure that these lads have given us over the last few years, especially last season.
Mm.
It is a blip. Nobody saw it coming. They didn't see it coming. They let the club, they let themselves down first and foremost. They let us down. It's one of those things. These kind of things happen. What I can't accept and what nobody will accept and what Phil Parkinson doesn't accept, as he's stated on record many times, is that if you're going to go out and play in a Wrexham shoot, you're going to give it your all, and only a very good team will do us over. We didn't have to work hard to get done over. And what annoyed me is they trudged off, and it just felt like weird air of inevitability about it, like they just thought it's damage limitation now, and it was, and that's the thing that annoyed me. The body language was all wrong. It just didn't look cohesive in any sense, any way, shape, or form. Big game
Yeah.
players did not turn up for the big game. It's as simple as that.
I think we were all slapping them on the back for the performance against Grimsby
Was that a
because
false
that.
dawn though?
Sorry.
Was that a false dawn because of how bad Grimsby were?
I don't know. I think it's pattern of play. I think a pattern of play, the way that we play football goes a long way towards it because what we do is, we push our wing backs on. It's a very attacking front foot way to play football. Now we all know that pace and a ball in behind can, or direct running can undo us. But a lot of the times, what we do will beat more teams in this division than it will lose to. I don't want to say, yeah, you just got to keep the rough with the smooth because yesterday was a kick in the balls that no one really foresaw and definitely didn't want. But I do think we have to sort of put to one side that we don't have a divine right, even though that we've
No,
probably got the biggest budget in the league to win every game. We've got to lose some games. We know that. We know the league is competitive. We know four go up, so losing a game isn't the end of the world. Again, it's how they react to it. But I think our pattern of play will mean that every now and again we'll get turned over. But I also think it will mean, we got turned over against Dons, MK Dons, but then we went on was it 7 or 8 match unbeaten run where we picked up quite a few wins. We're going to get runs
yeah,
like that due to the way we play, but every now and again we're going to get turned over. I think it's unfair to single out Tozer because I think really and truly he's a victim of the way we play. I think we can tighten up a little bit. I think we've all said that we wanted a more defensive midfield with Luke Young and Tom O'Connor. They were our picks. I'm going to be honest. Tom O'Connor so far this season has not looked a touch on the player he was last season. Now I don't know
yeah.
if that's form. I don't know if he's carrying an injury. I don't know if it's confidence. But a fit and firing Tom O'Connor can dictate play and spot danger more than he is doing at the moment. He seems a pale shadow, and I think having someone like that fit and firing will help the likes of Tozer get out of it. The other thing I don't. This is old ground, but every shot that Stockport had on target went in as a goal. Yeah.
Well, yeah, almost they hit the post with a header, free header as we all stood there.
Yeah. Is is there anything more Howard can do there? Is Howard blameless in this?
The weird thing with Howard, right, is that because because of the score line, it kind of masked the very early cock up where he nearly took his man out. And
Yeah.
I think on another day, the referee might have saw that very differently. I, I
Is
would
this the
not be
reset
surprised.
time? Is this the reset time for the Arsenal loanee to come in? I think
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I heard.
I think it is. I think it is. I think I was surprised he didn't start George Evans. I would have opted for Evans over probably O'Connor. I don't know. I mean, Davis is champion at the bit. He's in there as well. I think Crew are I think they're second highest scorers in the division, which I didn't
Oh,
realise
the
until
last thing we need.
I know. So something's got to give, and like even going into Saturday, even if it doesn't go away on Saturday, which I'm hoping it will, there simply has to be a reaction. Because if there's not a reaction, then that's when serious questions start to be raised. And I'm like I'm pro Parky, but that inability to want to change it when you're 3-0 down, and then your players do not reward you and go and concede a fourth in such a meek fashion just
Yeah.
wound me up. And it was the first time I ever heard it, right? Where our fans were going, Parky, Parky, make a sub, Parky, make a sub. Couldn't believe it. So,
Yeah.
that tells you that's a unanimous feeling. That's just not pockets of fans. That's everybody thinking the same thing. You
Mm.
know, so yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot too many players off the game. It's as simple as that. I think changes will be made. I can't understand why they wouldn't, because the feeling that displeasure is made known. I was clapping at the end. I don't quite know why. I think it's because of the efforts they've done this season so far. It
Muscle
was
memory, mate. You used to clapping at the end of a game. That's what it is.
yeah, I've always said that 5-0 is my cut-off. Every time we lose 5-0, it always used to be my cut-off, where it was Preston at home, we got Wallop, Burnley away. I was like, that's me done, because it's just like that's the humiliation tipping point for me. But in
Mm.
recent years, that's not the case with this Wrexham team, because anything's possible.
We're
But
spoiled, mate.
yesterday,
We've been spoiled.
yeah,
Like we've been
but I
spoiled.
mean,
Let's be honest on that.
yeah, but that kind of warrior never say die spirit was dead yesterday. It wasn't there, and that is what infuriated me, because you can see it in the players' faces. It wasn't there. If you haven't got that, you're in a hide into nothing, and that's what is still winding me up now. It would seem.
Yeah, I know. Parky trusts his system, and we know. We've. I've said to people, I think Phil Parkinson has the ability to take us quite far in where we want to go in this journey. But if we get towards the top echelons of League One and we're looking towards the Championship, you have to really ask: is a coach who's so rigid in his formula really going to be able to change when necessary? I don't think he probably will. But anyway, I'm parking that to a different, a couple of years down the line, maybe. At the moment, I think for me, 3-5-2 still seems the right way to go. The one thing I would say is our wing backs are incredibly attacking. Ryan Barnett is a winger. James McLean is 36 and hasn't really played, the wing back role. He's always been a left midfielder, really, isn't he? And I think that's fine for home because we're on the front foot so much. They all sort of meld in together well, and it sort of really puts the opposing team, taking a step back because they've got so many threats from everywhere. I do wonder if away from home we might need to go a little bit more conservative. We didn't do it against AFC Wimbledon and just about got away with it. I think maybe the likes of, I don't know, Anthony Ford is a lot better defensively than Ryan Barnett. He doesn't offer as much going forward. And then on the other side, I think Jacob Memby is used to he's used to that sort of left wing back role a little bit more than McLean maybe. And I wonder if there is a possibility that it's the wing backs that they really target away from home, and maybe a change there may help us be a little bit more solid on the travels. Don't know what you think there.
Maybe. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because if you take it for what it is, I mean, Barney on his birthday yesterday had a stinker. McLean, not very good. He got marked out of the game. And some of Tozer's passes to him didn't help in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but on yesterday's Evans, you have to look at the back three as well. I mean, Hayden was gobbling up the balls early doors. He was the better of the three, but that wasn't hard. Boyle had a poor game. Um, we just looked pedestrian. And then you kind of wonder, is there room for Max to come in because he's got a bit more mobility and a bit more speed? Yes, there's a bit more inexperience there, but he's not going to be. He's not. If Max Kluivert starts the next game, he's not going to concede 5 goals. It's just not going to happen. I mean, that's obviously we know it's a rarity anyway, but I just think it needs mixing up. Tunnicliffe travelled yesterday, wasn't on the bench. I'm not sure how far away he is. O'Connell was in the pubs with the fans, so he was there as well.
Is
So
he
you got to
injured?
then. I think he is. I'm not sure how far off they all are, but I mean, who is your? If you could pick that back three now, forget about the wing backs for a minute because, like you said, they virtually picked themselves. I think that you're right about Ford, and the nature of the game. But if you could pick a back three now, who do you go with, really? If you're the manager, who do you pick if you had all of them available?
I said last week, and I still stand by. I think our our top back three when they're in form is the back three we're playing at the moment, which is Hayden, Tozer, and Boyle. Now Hayden's got power and pace. He's a goal threat. Tozer is the leader in there. I think he's the guy who wants to bring the ball out and play a little, and he's got confidence to do that. And Boyle's a left-sided balance who can do a little bit of everything. and scores goals as well. Now, they had a stinker yesterday. I honestly think they weren't helped out by how far forward our midfield and wing backs were, and they had so much area to cover that you can't do it. They were so far apart trying to cover space. I really felt for them yesterday. Tom, thanks for joining us. You're living our misery fest here. It's not often that we have something like this, but we're having a bit of a post-mortem here, mate. I just want to just say Tom Williams is big on Twitter. He does a lot of analysis for clubs and did a little bit on us yesterday. What's your sort of thoughts about the way we conceded goals?
Yeah, it wasn't ideal, was it? I don't think.
You put it bloody mildly, mate.
Yeah, exactly. It's difficult because obviously Stockport are a good team, and they were sort of waiting to click into place, and I feel like it's just kind of happened at the wrong time. And I do feel like for you guys, it kind of goes one way or the other. You either defend really well, or like you've conceded 5 times this season. Like that is just like it's crazy. So it's like complete capitulation. There were obviously
scored 20, conceded 20, so consistent in one respect.
Yeah, exactly. Very even, very even. So yeah, I mean, look, you're scoring loads of goals, and you've only conceded like 5 in the other 6 games. So if you take those 3 games out, those 3 big scoring games, like you're actually doing quite well. I guess it's like the mistakes at the back were poor. Like playing out from the back was not good. It's not even playing out from the back. It was sort of that pass to Tozer, and I think it's just indecision, and he just looked really slow. And I really, really rate Tozer. Like he made my team of the season last year, and I do think he still should be like the main man in that back three. I think one bad game doesn't mean he loses his place. But there are issues, especially when the teams run at you. Your back three. There were issues last season. I mean, Halifax, Milinic Ali got joy against you because he ran at you and was direct, and I feel that's what we kind of missed a trick in that game against you. Actually, was that we kind of played in front of you. I think you're very comfortable defending when it's in front of you, but when teams can get in behind and run at you with pace, it can be a difficult situation for you. So there's plenty to look at, but I think it is one game, isn't it? So I understand it's a pretty sobering and pretty bad result, but I've no doubt that you'll bounce back and you'll probably keep a clean sheet next week. But that's kind of the way these things tend to go.
You say that. I just said to Andy before that Crewe are the second highest scorers in the division. So
I didn't realise you're playing Crewe, to be fair. Yeah, so that was a difficult
0-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Swindon were involved in a 0-0 not long ago. So, these things can happen.
Just to let everyone know, Tom, you're a Notts County fan, aren't you? I'm just looking at the table now. Are you better this year than you were last year? And if so, why?
Oh, it's difficult. I think, we are better. Definitely attacking wise. That's weird to say actually, because we aren't creating as many clear-cut chances for Langstaff. He's still getting chances, but it's not like he won't score 40 this season because he just won't. And I think the standard is definitely higher. Like I probably underestimate that myself. The defense, especially like it's tough to say because defenders are very good physically in the National League, but I'm not sure as a unit they defend as well as League Two, and team games will seem a lot tighter and like you get punished a lot more. But yeah, I think we probably are better. Jody Jones has added any dimension to our team at left wing back. He's amazing. He is just amazing. Yeah, he's just a ridiculous player. And the fact that he wasn't really playing that much for us last season, and now he's first name on the team sheet really at left wing back, which is mad to say, but yeah. And obviously McGoldrick's made us better as well. I still think we miss Ruben a little bit. Maybe more in the defensive work rate because the front three, they work hard, but Ruben was really good at pressing. But I think we probably are a slightly better team, and we haven't played the teams that you've played though. You've played some very, very good teams. You haven't played as many high caliber teams. That's the only thing I would say. The caveat.
Yeah. So who has replaced Ruben in that role? Is it the guy Crowley? Is it?
Yeah, Dan Crowley, and he's fantastic. He's a sensational player. He's quite different to Ruben in terms of they have that same ability to pass that ball through the centre back and the full back sort of channel. But Crowley's very much more like your classic, like quite small attacking midfielder, low centre of gravity, keeps the ball sticks to him. Whereas with Ruben, it was more like he's a bit stronger, more boisterous. But I mean, Dan Crowley is fantastic, so there's no complaints for me in that department at all.
It's only a month away before we play you. Is it 28th of October? Top of my head.
Yeah, it is.
Do you reckon they'll televise that in any way, shape, or form? Or would it just be a straightforward streaming job? Do you reckon? I'm just thinking they might want to pick that up, first versus second again, and all that sort of stuff.
Well, it's the rivalry that was so prevalent last season, isn't it? And if we're anywhere near you and you guys are still at the top, I think they should try and televise that.
Have you watched the documentary, Tom? Welcome to
I've
Wrexham.
been caught up. I've watched the last episode.
The Knots arc is in there, isn't it? The whole Nottingham story starting to be told.
Yeah, exactly. We're in there now. It's good. It was good actually. The last episode, I really enjoyed it. It's quite I find it really watchable. Like it's quite short. If they were like hour-long episodes, I'm not sure how that would come across, but I think it came across really well actually. And yeah, like obviously, looking back on it, I didn't remember it being like that massive of a game, like first versus second, the first game, but obviously it was. So like it's weird to go back.
It's magic of TV.
Yeah, that's true.
They've hyped it, mate. They've hyped it. The thing is, you don't think matches like this are so big early on in the season because there's so many games to go. You obviously don't want to lose and you don't want to lose any ground, but it's not like the be all end all. It's not the do or die clash that we got at the end of the season, I think. And yeah, but it was interesting to see how they sort of hyped up the game and really sort of made it sort of a crunch match when maybe I and you at the time didn't think it was. What did you find of the disagreement between Mullin and Tozer? I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Obviously, it's great to see like in behind the scenes, isn't it? And obviously the frustration. I think it's probably a lot of teams probably get frustrated playing us. So like it was probably like a bit of that, but yeah, I think it's good to see, the passion there. And I was impressed with the way that Parkinson sort of reined it in, like he just got control of it straight away. It was really good. So, no, it's good to see behind the scenes because you don't obviously get to see that. And yeah, it was quite enjoyable. And obviously, it's great that we caused that. Not that I would want any fallouts, but, it's great that teams find it hard to play against us, I suppose.
It's just dawned on me that Wrexham have this habit of choking in the early season big games, whether it's Notts County last season, Chesterfield last season, Stockport now, Stockport a couple of seasons ago, and they managed to redress that balance by sorting it out in the return fixture. I'm pretty sure we beat Chesterfield last year in the return fixture, so maybe, and I tweeted this out there before, both teams are second and third, Stockport and Wrexham, Notts County in the playoffs, and both are promoted, and it's a winner-take-all title in the last game of the season, and we'll take it. So that's my idea of a perfect avenging mission from yesterday. Because
wow, I mean that's after a 5-0 defeat. That's you've done a full circle there, mate.
It's extreme wishful thinking, to put it mildly, but there we are. It is what it is. Onwards. Tom, have you got a Conal Rawlinson size voodoo doll just out of sight there?
No, I don't actually. It's been a bit mental, to be fair. The whole Rawlinson thing. I know. I don't want to be too negative about it. Really, it is what it is, isn't it? Really, but yeah.
But I mean, the reason I mention that is there's been a lot of Twitter online hate. I've noticed the last couple of days.
Everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah, just crap. We've had some American fans over making the efforts, to come to watch Wrexham, and then just getting heat for whatever reason on social media. Not so much from our own fans, some, but largely from fans of other clubs. And I don't know, it just kind of pissed me off a bit. And then you see the thing with one of your own players. I mean, I know you're quite a positive guy, and you've kind of let it. You're quite
Let's just explain what it is, just for the people who probably don't know. Yeah, just so Tom, I was watching the same fight as you last night, and I was thinking probably the same thing as you. That where does James Joyce go from here after losing to Zheng? I think his name was, wasn't it? It was quite a comprehensive, comprehensive victory. You put that on Twitter. I thought it was a very reasonable tweet, and one of your players, Connor Rawlinson, has taken issue with it, saying that you can't really say things like that because you're not a fighter. Look, things like this happen. He's had Rawlinson. He's had a mare. I know he's from our neck of the woods, but he's had a mare there because there's no point digging out a lad like you for having a reasonable opinion on Twitter. Everyone has an opinion on Twitter. It's why it's bloody there. So it's good to see a lot of people have jumped to your support and told him he's had a bit of a mare. Is the tweet still up? Is he doubled down on it? Has he said anything
No,
more?
he deleted it about midday. I think about midday he deleted it. So
That's
it was
fine.
up there for about 12 hours, I think.
Free match day tickets coming your way, Tom. Connell, if you're listening, do the right thing, boy. Do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, isn't it? Heat of the moment, and that was the thing that I didn't get was the fact that it was the boxing tweet. I wouldn't mind if I dug him out and then got it back. Like that's fair enough, I think. But like I hadn't even mentioned it, so
I just think it's mad. You take it better than what I would. I'd like my heart would sink into my ass if I woke up one morning and Paul Mullin was like, "You know nothing about this." I'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, and that's the key thing. That's the key thing because it's one of your own players. It stings a little bit more than someone else. But it's we all do silly things on Twitter. I have. No, I bloody
we
have.
all have. I think moral of the story for me is don't put something out on Twitter you're not prepared to say to somebody in person. Because 90% of stuff that people say, you wouldn't dare dream of saying it to that person's face. So think on. On the plus side, we just had a goal alert through Sheffield United 0, Newcastle 6. Hold our beer, said Sheffield United when they saw the Wrexham score yesterday. So nice one, Blades. Good times.
Yeah.
Because this is quite a morose episode because of yesterday's pummeling, I've got some tweets which I'm going to read out in a minute in terms of a specific game or performance that left you bewildered or angry. From a Knott's point of view, is there anything that sticks in your head that you think, yeah, that one left me absolutely apoplectic with rage?
Well, it's not the main one, but even the weekend, I think this is all the whole Rawlinson thing kicked off because at the weekend I said that I was disappointed with the performance, even though we won 4-3. And I know some of your fans commented on my thing saying, "Can't believe you're disappointed, but you just won." But it's just like striving for the best. I think it was like we got away with it. We were lucky. Like even though earlier I said we were a better team than last season, we did get away with it. Like on Saturday, I don't care what our fans say. A lot of them are saying, "Oh, we deserve to win." Like they hit the bar in the 90 something minute and it would have been 4-4. So like, it was going in. It was like looping header sort of hit the bar. And so that didn't fill me with rage, but like that was a game where, I've been disappointed recently. In terms of like rage, Torquay away a couple of seasons ago, that was pretty bad day. But recently, I've not had much to complain about. To be fair, even when we lost to you guys last season, like we couldn't really have a lot to. Obviously, it came away absolutely gutted, but it wasn't like anger or anything like that because like it was just one of those games, So I don't think we've had a performance. To be honest with you, the one at the weekend of recent times has been one of the most frustrating because we won, and that sounds mental. Obviously, I'm glad we got 3 points.
It's papered over cracks.
Yeah, and I think Louis Williams is the manager that he'll address it. It's fine, but people were absolutely buzzing at the final whistle. And I thought, like, we've been absolutely battered basically for the last, other than 10 minutes in the second half. We were battered for the second half, and like I don't like being battered. It's not nice, not a nice feeling. So,
tell me about it.
Yeah, exactly.
What was Troy Deeney like? Because obviously we've got this smattering of players with pedigree now, dotted around the sort of lower leagues, whether it's McLean, Fletcher, Deeney. What was he like?
Yeah, so first half, he sort of. What I will say is, you might not notice what he does first half, but his positioning is quite clever, and he doesn't press hard, but he positions himself well so that the passing at the back isn't he cuts off the passing lane basically, and and he does it quite smartly. But he's not like a massive hard worker up top. And I said to my dad said to me, he's done nothing this half. I said, look, you watch second half, Dad. Like if the ball will fall to him in the box and he will score if it does, and he did, and he did it again. And then when he scored two, I said he'll score a penalty, yeah, and he did get a penalty. He scored. So, and it wasn't even that. There was a one way he sort of hit the ball on the spin and just like sprayed it sort of 20 yards on the turn, and like there's just little touches where you just think like he's some player, like he's clearly playing below his level. And yeah, he's really good. Don't get it wrong, he's not massively like I might want to say he's unfit because I don't think he played the full game, but he's not
mobile.
like
Just say he's not mobile.
He's not massively mobile. That's the one. But he has got quality, and you're right. There's so many in this league now. There's so many in this league. So you've got probably quite a few. You and Stockport probably got the most, I think. But there's a few. We've got Didsey, obviously, McGoldrick.
Going back to the Wrexham thing, we've kind of gone around the houses a little bit, but going back to your videos of the Wrexham goals and deciphering it for what it is. If you're in charge of that, I know you've said that you would still keep Tozer, captain there and keep him at the back. Do you keep it as it is? Because obviously Boyle is a similar player, similar age, similar mobility. Aiden's come back. Thankfully, he's escaped injury free again yesterday, so there's a bit of momentum for him. So I imagine he stays. We were just debating whether there's a case for somebody to come in with a bit more pace in and around that. You can have to build some pace in and around that centre point of Tozer if that's what's required when we're coming up against some speedy frontman. Like you said, as soon as it's in behind, then it feels like almost inevitable that the opposition are going to score.
Yeah, it's mad because you've got so many centre back options. Like you have got you've obviously got Cleworth, you've got Tunnicliffe and O'Connell, and even obviously O'Connor can play there. O'Connell and O'Connor, that's a mouthful, isn't it? But
O'Connor can't play at the moment. Full stop. Bless him. He's having a mare, but there we are.
Yeah. Is he unavailable or is it just no?
No, he's available, but he was just a passion to yesterday. He's not really carried on the form from last season. Just a bit anonymous, unfortunately, and yeah, it'll come good for him, but it's just not happening yet.
Yeah, so yeah, and that happens, and I think that could be the case of the back three. I think on paper it's your strongest back three, possibly, but it's difficult because obviously it's clearly not working. So maybe something does need to change. And I think again you've been unlucky, like in terms of every shot pretty much was on target went in, and that isn't normal. Like that is not normal. That it doesn't happen. So it's one of them where if every shot goes in, it's not that much you can do as well.
Yeah. Andy, I'm going to go.
I know you've got some tweets to read, but maybe we'll finish on that. So no, Tom, what do you think of the league overall? We've both seen, we've all seen quite a bit of it now. We knew it would be a step up in quality. I think it has been. I don't think there's even the weakest teams like Doncaster and how you guys dealt with Forest Green yesterday. I mean, you said that they played you off the park for large swathes of the game. I mean, quality-wise, where are we? Do you see someone who's in a false position maybe that might come through a little bit? And who are the sort of players we really need to look out for?
Yeah, you're right. It is a step up. I think I probably underestimated it. I still think that it's a league where the top. It's weird because there's like two or three teams that will be up there, and then they will separate.
Who are they going to be?
Well, I think you guys will be there. I think it'd be Notts. At the start of the season, I said Notts, Wrexham, Stockport. Not in that order, actually. I said Wrexham, Stockport, Notts. I'm not sure it'll still be that order, but I think that will still be the three. I really do, and that's why I'm not. I wouldn't be too disheartened about yesterday. Yes, it's a massive scoreline, but Stockport are really good. They had a really poor start, but they're a really good team as well. And they're probably the one that were in the false position. There's been a few surprises, like Salford just are completely off it, like completely. I don't even really know what to say about Salford. Like they're just disjointed and look confused. And And the teams that are surprising, like Crawley, are really surprising. Everyone had them to go down, and there's no way they're going to go down now. They're pretty much halfway, almost like a third of the way to the point you need to get already. They're way ahead of schedule. So, and in terms of players, like there are players that pop up that you just wouldn't have thought of pre-season. There's James Tilley for Wimbledon, and Will Evans, a Welshman for Newport. Obviously, he's slowed down a little bit now, but he is a really, really good player. So there's
ex-League of Wales lad.
Yeah, he was and Wales C international. So he's a very good player. I'm surprised you guys haven't looked at him. To be fair, yeah, he's a very good player. And they're another team. Newport started really well, and then started to fall off. So I feel like it's. I know it's early days still, but obviously very early. But there's a lot of teams like that are quite inconsistent as well. Whereas the National League, it was quite easy to pick. Boreham Wood say last season, you go, Boreham Wood, that's a tough game, or that's an easy game. Whereas this season, like you could think a game's easy. Like we could have thought Forest Green yesterday was easy, and then it's 4-3. Or conversely, you might get a team you think, it's a really tough game, and then you end up absolutely battering them. So it's like a really random league as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't really disagree with you. I mean, on the three who should pull away, I always think there'll be a surprise package though. I'm looking at the likes of maybe Crewe, Swindon as well looked great when they came up for us, when it came up against us. Yeah, we've got Crawley next, and then we've got Crewe, then we've got Crawley. It doesn't get bloody any easier, but then
We've got Mansfield. We've got Crewe, then Mansfield, then Crawley.
Oh, well, they're up there as well. Great.
Well,
So
yeah,
that
I
would
forgot about Mansfield actually. I'd probably have them somewhere in the top. Well, I say top three, so maybe that's the top four then. I think Stockport, Mansfield, Notts, Wrexham. So one of them's going to miss out definitely, and I think Mansfield are very good. Mansfield are very good.
We've got them all to play, so great.
Yeah, we've got a tough October as well. We've got yourselves and Mansfield. I think
we've got Bradford as well. We've got Bradford away next month.
It's not easy. It's not an easy league at all. That's the thing. It's relentless. I know last season was relentless because of the title race, but you did feel there were a few easier games. Whereas in this division, it doesn't feel like there's many easy games at all. I think there will be a couple, but we squandered one of ours. That sounds really disrespectful to Sutton. I don't want to be disrespectful, but they will probably be down there, and we lost to them. So yeah, it's
you're responsible for 3 of their 4 points. That's you can't shy away from that really. I think overall, there's not going to be as many 5-game winning runs as there were in the conference. I think people are going to lose them. We've lost one. After we lost the one in the first game of the season, we went on a bit of an unbeaten run. I think we need to do that again. 6 or 7 games, but we won't win them all. There'll be a couple of draws in there. It's going to be a very sort of up and down league, I think. But yeah, what about the people at the bottom? Do you think Tranmere can get out of it? Are Sutton in danger?
Yeah, I think Sutton and Harrogate won, I think, yesterday, but they'd be 2 teams that spring to mind straight away that have struggled really. But again, they both got positive results, so it's like one of them ones where you start like the top of the table. You start to think like, Wrexham run and Beaton run. You think, they're going, that's it, they're flying now. And the same down the bottom. Sutton had lost 7 on the bounce, and they got a decent draw. So yeah, I think they're the teams that are in trouble. Tranmere have got Nigel Adkins in charge interim basis. I think if they make him permanent, like they'll pull away and they'll be fine. But then, it's really difficult to say because there's teams that have got, like Sutton went on that, like after the first game they won 5-1 against us. I thought there's no way, and then they've gone on a 7-game losing run. So the teams will do that. I think they're probably ones to look down there. I don't want to be too negative about them because obviously they paced us, but I think they will probably be down there. And Harrogate as well. Again, they won yesterday, but I fear for them a little bit. I think who else really. I mean, there's a few teams, isn't there, down there.
It's just me. It was me and my mute button.
Oh,
Andy's disappeared. Or Andy's put a mute and then disappeared somewhere. So there was
yeah.
dead air for a second, like classic amateur hour. Dead
Yeah, I
air.
couldn't hear anything. I stopped and then I just couldn't hear anything. I was like, oh God, it's gone. But it's all right.
No, it's all good. It's all
and
good.
Oh, well, to throw you a question, how did you attack yesterday? Obviously, I've seen the goals that you conceded, but did you get any chances at all?
Um, there was one early chance, fell to Elliot Lee, just hit it straight at the keeper. Then that was really about it when the floodgates opened, and then later on, again Elliot Lee. Well, there was a slight header off the line. I think it might have been, can't remember whose header off the line it was, Mulling off Palmer. But then Elliot Lee shot. Oh, Jesus Christ! I've never seen anybody stick some venom in a ball. He leathered it, right, and it leathered the bar. I thought it was going to break the bar in half. And you just knew at that point that we could play for another 4 hours and not score. Although it could have been like 24-0. I'd be played for another 4 hours. I mean, I just said to Andy that the only plus point is that it wasn't 6 or 7 because it could have been, and maybe it should have been because we were that bad, we were that ineffective. So yeah, furious. So you started me off again.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. And how's
Andy's got echo.
Oh,
No. It was going so well, and now there's an echo. Echo. Oh. He's having a nightmare. I don't know what Andy's up to, but never mind. All good
yeah,
fun.
I was going to ask how Mullins getting on, and also, do you see? Because for me, from an outside point of view, I would say that Stephen Fletcher, when he came in, would be an upgrade on Palmer, and definitely an upgrade on Dolby. That's no. Again, not to throw shade on him. I'm not that convinced.
It's not falling for him. Dolby, he's copping a lot of flack from a lot of quarters. Weird. It's a weird thing. Because physically he looks like a bruiser. Keep saying it looks like he's got like a coat hanger still in his shirt. It's like an American football, like massive, massive guy, but should be doing better physically with the aerial battles. And he's shown it before that he can do the business on the floor. He's pretty decent at cutting inside and finishing, but it just hasn't dropped for him this year for whatever reason. I just don't know why it's not happened for him. But yeah, I mean, it's big vote confidence. No, Andy's still got echo. um, yeah, I just thought it was a big vote of confidence for him to be on the pitch yesterday over Palmer. Palmer was carrying a knock, so I think that's probably why he started him on the bench. Yeah, honestly, it was. We won't perform. I'm going to say this now, and this is going to potentially haunt me, but I genuinely do not see us performing any worse than what we did yesterday, or suffering anywhere near that level of defeat. Because, like I said, the last time we lost 5-0 was 2014. So there is that, but it was just night and day from previous weeks. Night and day.
That's why, from an outside perspective, like I know it's going to be. I mean, if we lost after Sutton, we lost 5-1. We were all down in the dumps. But from an outside perspective, you'll be fine. Like I think people getting excited about you guys getting levered. Yeah, it happens. Every team will have it this season, and I think you were improving, and I just think you are like inevitable, like you are relentless, and you will come again. Like it just will happen.
With death and taxes.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It really is. I mean, I couldn't believe it when seeing the score, but it normally is just like you've won, you've got points. So yeah, obviously, it's easy for me to come on and be like all positive and say, it's not all doom and gloom because you've just lost 5-0 and that's horrible. But I do think you'll have an immediate reaction, and especially if you win the next 2 or 3. I mean, they're like the teams you're playing are really good, like really, really good. But if you come through those games, even if you came through those 3 games with 7 points, like that would be massive. So I think you judge it in 3-4 games time and see what effect this result has on it for sure.
Firstly, can I say sorry about this tech meltdown we've had? This is the problem with trying to record this in one as live. My computer stopped working. Tim was on mute. I was on mute. You were just sitting looking at us, Tom. Sorry about this. It is amateur hour. We do apologise for that. Tim, should we sort of finish up and maybe read some of the tweets you've been garnering about the games that have left you angry?
Yeah, but in light of what you just said about being an amateur hour, people don't pay for this, so it's fine. People have made mention before, oh, your audio's all over the place, it's a disgrace. There are other pods that do a far more serious and better job than us. I've just got another goal alert, by the way. Sheffield United 0, Newcastle 8. Wonderful times up in
You
Yorkshire.
know what? I think that might be in trouble this season. I'm just putting that out there.
You reckon?
How long is left? Briefly, how long is left in that game? Because they only need 2 more to break the record.
Amazing. I mean, it's unfortunate, but the more Billy Sharp headlines this week from the documentary. Which, to be fair, I watched the Wrexham clip on their documentary, and it's actually not as bad as you might think. It's begrudgingly respectful in parts, but there we are. Yeah, okay. Let's start to wind this down, and we'll do the predictions, and Tom can give us his opinion as well, and predictions of both Notts, whoever they're playing, and of us against Crew. So yeah, I put a tweet out before asking you rather. Last time a Wrexham performance left you bewildered or angry, really, prior to yesterday. So Craig Jones said 2-2 versus Chester when they had 9 men. I nearly cried. I remember that well. They still celebrate it to this day. A draw. Yeah, there we are. Hugh Selby losing 4-0 at home to Telford, who were bottom of the table. That struck a chord quite a few people. I remember that. That was horrible. Our friend from Robert and Red, Nathan Salt, North Ferriby final in the FA Trophy. Got me heated. Was most angry in the moment at full time as I felt it was a total mismanagement of the game. He's probably looking at you, Kevin Wilkin. That's always saying with that one. Ali Roberts, Ebbsfleet away. They hadn't trained, but still managed to beat us 4-2. Paul Coleman, Bromley in the FA Trophy final. Parky outcoached by a team with a fraction of our investment. There's a few more. Thanks to everybody who did tweet in. I managed to get through them all, but thank you anyway. MG Wrexham listed a load, including the 7-2 home loss against Gateshead, which was just weird and horrible, and our 2-0 defeat at Hereford United, which sealed relegation to the National League back in 2008. Sue Wells, playoff semi-final defeat to Luton when we were 3-0 down in 20 minutes. Peter Like, 3-2 loss to Runcorn in the Cup in 1998, apparently. James Beattie, 2-2 with Hyde, the worst ref decisions I've ever seen. They awarded Hyde a penalty after Brett Ormer was fouled and then sent off Jay Harris despite him being fouled. And then Mull has quite rightly said this one, which gives me a chill. Chesterfield losing at Chesterfield 1-0 at Saltergate in the FA Cup quarter-finals in 1997. I was there. Many of us queued up overnight to get a ticket for that in the pouring rain. And then there's that mistake between Darren Brace and Andy Marriott that let Chesterfield, featuring Sean Dyche in their side, that went on to play Middlesbrough and probably got robbed in that final, if I remember rightly, but in the semi-finals. So there we go. That's the roundup of crappy matches. Andy, what have you got? Any specific games that you thought, oh, fuck this, I'm going?
We lost at Braintree. Oh, it was. Well, there was one at Braintree which you didn't even go ahead, but losing at Braintree, which is the arse end of nowhere. That's the one that really stuck in my gullet. I'm going to be honest about that. Right, should we do predictions?
So anybody listening in Essex, that is the opinion of one individual, not the podcast as a whole. So
yeah, we love Essex.
Predictions. Right, so we've got Crew Alexandra. We haven't played them for ages. The Railway Men. We play them at home. I couldn't even tell you their manager is. Does anybody know? Obviously, Tom will know, as he feverishly Googles it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Lee Bell. Sorry, I had a mind blank because I spoke to David Artell last week, and that's all I could think was David Artell, but he's left. So I was thinking, who is it? It's Lee Bell. I couldn't think.
What do you think of that? And you can tell us your prediction for Wrexham Crew, and then who've not got
Colchester away. So
give us your predictions for both those games.
I think you'll bounce back. I think Crew are a good team. Don't get it wrong. Obviously, they're 1 point and 1 position ahead of you at the moment, and they're in good form, good nick. The issue that I think any team will have going to the racecourse is they go to attack. I know MK Dons, they're not even a massively attacking team. I know they had joy that day, but if you go to attack, you could end up getting picked off, I think. And I think there'll be goals in the game. I think your defensive frailties might not change overnight as such, but you've responded well so far. So I've got no reason to think that you won't again, and that's not to reduce Crew because I think they're a good team as well. They are a really good side. But I'm going to go 3-2 to you guys. So plenty of goals.
What a clean sheet! A clean sheet. 3-2. And as for Notts, I just think they'll get on.
I think we'll win. I know that's very brave to say away from home, but I think Colchester aren't amazing. They're a team perhaps I could have mentioned before about being down there. They've not had the best of times. And if we want to keep the momentum going, obviously a draw away from home that they say, win at your home games and draw away. But I think I'm going to go 2-0 Notts. 2-0 Notts, I'll go.
Andy, I mean, you can give a Notts one if you want. It's inconsequential at this point, I suppose. But
I couldn't really give you a Notts one. I'm going to be honest by that. Right, this is going to be my first live game for a while. I've not been since. I can't remember. Wimbledon away. Yeah, but I'm making it up for this one.
Hollywood bandwagoner.
It's just I've been away and things. Anyway, you don't want my life story.
You're away and things. You fucking globe.
I'm the international man of mystery, mate. You don't know where
Harlem, I'm calling you. Andy Harlem.
Right. Okay. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to win 3-1. We got Mansfield the Tuesday after.
Yes.
I think that's going to be more difficult, and I'd love a draw there. So I'm going to go one each for that.
We did predictions for that one next week, aren't we?
Oh, okay. Well, I might change my prediction depending on what happens. Happens on Saturday, but that's my initial one. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, as much as I'd love a clean sheet, I think Big Arthur will come in between the sticks. As confident as he is, I think he probably will concede, or we will concede. So, 2-1, 2-1 Wrexham. Yeah, I haven't got a clue who's going to score because we must mention Paul Mullin, 100th appearance for Wrexham yesterday. One he won't remember. None of us will remember. Like most of the players, very quiet, very anonymous. Wasn't with it. Didn't get any service. Yeah, but he'll come good because 100 appearances, 79 goals. Of course, he's going to come good. So congratulations, Paul Murray, for reaching that landmark at Wrexham. And yeah, here's hoping he gets back up to full speed sooner rather than later.
Right, let's tie this up. Let's firstly apologise for our morose outlook. We've just been had our asses handed to us, and
it's not our fault, though, is it? It's not our fault. You can't polish a turd. I mean, it's as simple as that.
All right, and also for the technical difficulties, which are our fault, but again, you can't polish a turd. So, with that in mind, Tom, thank you very much for coming on, and thanks for listening as ever.
Yeah, cheers, like, subscribe, comment, tell us around it is. It's fine, but we'll see you again next week. So yeah, thanks for listening.